Let me just be clear. You do not need to have a single employee or team member to make a lot of money as an entrepreneur. You can be a solopreneur and do at least multiple six figures a year. I know that because that was me. My first 3 to 4 years of business, which got me to about $250,000 a year in revenue, it was just me as a solopreneur. So don't let anyone tell you that you need a team or employees to make a good living online. Now, on the other side of it, you may want a team. And I have had a team from 1 person all the way up to 7 people and everywhere in between. So I've managed small teams and they all have their place. So having a team is great. Being a solopreneur is great. We're not going to talk about pros and cons today because I'm speaking to you, the solopreneur, or considering being a solopreneur, because I want you to win. And there's 3 things that every solopreneur needs. And I guarantee you that most of you, if you're a solopreneur, are missing out on 2 of these. One of them is relatively obvious, but you may not realize how powerful it is. The other 2, I guarantee you're missing, and it's going to hamper your ability to get incredible results. So if you want to make multiple 6, possibly 7 figures a year, with no employees, contractors, team members whatsoever, you want to run solo, then you need these 3 things. Let's discuss. Welcome back to the Graham Cochran Show, where each week I'm unpacking the habits, mindsets, and strategies to help you build a highly profitable and life-giving business. I'm your host, Graham Cochran, pumped to hang out with you today. We're going to talk about the solopreneur life. We'll be very practical today. And I honestly believe that being a solopreneur is one of the greatest gifts of the modern era. I don't know if you want to stay a solopreneur forever. That's for you to decide. Personality-wise, needs-wise, but you can go very, very far all by yourself. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And don't let anyone shame you or make you feel less than as an entrepreneur if you don't have a single team member. There is some sick culture of you're not a real business if you don't have a team. And so I want to put that argument to bed. That's not true. You're a real business if 2 things happen. You create a product or service that's valuable in the marketplace and it's changing people's lives, and you're profitable. That's it, right? You can be profitable selling drugs. I don't consider that a business because it's not very ethical. But if you're creating a product or a service that's making a difference in people's lives in the marketplace and you bring home a profit after your expenses to run that business, that's a business. You're in business, okay? Even if you're the only person on the team. And you are not less than a business that has 5 employees, 10, 100. That doesn't, it's just a stupid conversation to have. There are different challenges to having a team, and there's different challenges to being a solopreneur. They're just different. Make sense? So if you are a freelance web designer, if you are a personal trainer, if you are crafty and you make beautiful shirts or scarves or handbags, or if you're a coach or if you're a speaker or an author and it's just you're a business. Okay? I got to see James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, at a private event in Orlando a few weeks ago, and he was talking about his book, and he's mentioned this on podcasts before, but Homeboy's got the best-selling book in the last 5 years, and he sold over 15 million copies. He has 1 employee. It's just him and his employee, and he's a multi-millionaire. I don't think anybody would say that he's not a real business. He's a very big business. It's just a speaking, authoring business, and it's very simple, and it doesn't even require technically his other employee. He's just doing a lot of writing and speaking, and he needed someone to help him out as he blew up because he's selling 15 million copies of a book. So let's just put that argument to bed. If you want to embrace a solopreneur lifestyle, let me affirm your choice. Let me encourage you. But let's move past that. Instead of saying, yeah, you're a solopreneur, let's talk about the 3 things that you need, because I guarantee you, like I said at the top of this episode, that you're missing probably 2 of these. One is rather obvious, but I'm going to unpack the full extent of it. But the other 2 just somehow get missed in my conversations with team members and clients and friends. Because interestingly enough, some of my team members are solopreneurs as well. So all right, let's unpack it. The three things are very easy to remember. They spell out the word ACE. ACE, like the ace of spades, the ace of hearts, like the number one when you're playing cards, right? The ace. So it might be easier for you to remember ACE. Number one is you need automation. And man, are you lucky to be alive right now as a solopreneur. You could be a solopreneur 20 years ago and just be a freelancer or be an author or a speaker. And it was very, very hard to scale your business and make a huge dent in the world without help. We are living in the world of automation. And I'm going to lump AI into that world as well, artificial intelligence, not because it's trendy, but because it's only making automation and automation tools that much more powerful. So basically, to run a business, we do need help. It is very hard to scale a business to multi-6, 7 figures without help. The difference is today you don't need humans necessarily. You can use the robots and the powerful automation tools. I'm going to give you what I think is the single best automation tool for a solopreneur today in the digital economy or the creator economy, and that is Kajabi. If you follow me, that's probably not a surprise. And I'm going to push my affiliate link here because it's the best thing for you and for me. If you've ever been looking for the tool to end all tools, to get rid of everything else, go check out grahamcochran.com/Kajabi, Kajabi. Kajabi gives you a 14-day free trial, but if you want to play with it for 30 days, use my link. I'll link to it below in the video, but grahamcochran.com/Kajabi. I can get you a 30-day free trial with my affiliate link. I'll also give you a free course the moment you sign up for the free trial called Ready, Set, Kajabi to help you get up and running and making money on Kajabi in 30 days. And if you stick around and become a paying Kajabi customer, because you use my link, part of your monthly payment comes back to support me in the show at no cost to you. And to say thank you, I'm going to give you my undying love. Plus, I'm going to send you one other course, my 3-step sales copy formula mini course, absolutely free. So you get double the free trial, 2 free courses, and all you got to do is just use my link to sign up instead of their website. Kajabi is everything that you need. And what's insane is I've been using Kajabi for 10 years, since 2013. And it has evolved and evolved and evolved, and it's continued to expand. And every time they add a feature, I almost need one fewer team member, or it speeds up my workflow. Here are just 5 things that off the top of my head I feel like Kajabi can do for your business as a solopreneur. Number one, again, it's an automation tool. And you can use other tools. You don't have to use Kajabi, but it's the one I've been using for a decade, and it's the one I endorse because it's the best platform. And that's why I talk about it all the time. Number one, content automation for your marketing. And this is where the AI tools are coming into play. So Kajabi launched, as of right now, it might still be in beta, so not every account has it, but if it's not, by the time you listen to this, it's probably available for everybody. But Kajabi Creator Studio is their AI tools baked into Kajabi. And so what this does, this is insane. Not only does Kajabi already have some AI baked in where it'll build you a sales page, it'll build your website, it'll build you an opt-in page, like it'll pre-design, like it'll build your course, like outline my course automation, and it'll do it for you based off of your niche, and it'll give you a bunch of ideas. But the power is in the Creator Studio. What Creator Studio can do is it can take your weekly content. Let's say we're doing this episode right now. I can record this episode, audio or video. Let's say video, because I like to do both at the same time. So I'm recording a video. I upload it to Kajabi's Creator Studio. It's going to do a bajillion things. It will create clips for me for Instagram Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. It'll do captions. It'll transcribe it for blog posts. It can take online courses that I've already uploaded to Kajabi, and I can take a 20-minute module from a course of mine, upload it to Creator Studio, and have Creator Studio spit out short form content for Instagram from my course. So I can repurpose paid stuff, free stuff. I can turn it into podcasts. I can turn it into blog posts. I can turn it into tweets. I can turn it into all kinds of stuff using AI. So instead of having a content manager and a video editor, you no longer need those people if you have Creator Studio baked into Kajabi. So it's your content automation for repurposing your content, and it's getting insanely more powerful by the month. Number 2 is email automation for your sales and onboarding. You don't need a sales team or an onboarding team if you sell a membership or a course. Literally, Kajabi collects the lead for you automatically and then can sell to that lead for you automatically. And then if they buy, and when they buy, it can upsell to them automatically, downsell to them automatically, cross-sell to them automatically, order bump promote to them automatically. And then when they buy, it can deliver the product automatically and walk them through an onboarding sequence that can last a couple of days, a week, a month, whatever you want. It can then automatically ping them to send them a new promotion in 30 days for an advanced course or your community, and it's targeted to them. And so it's follow-up sales. You can build that out for the next year if you want to. So you turn one lead into a customer, one customer into a customer of multiple products through the upsell process, and then that one customer who bought multiple things or not into a repeat customer 30 days from now, 90 days from now, a year from now. It's pre-loaded campaigns timed to when you want them. Or if it's not timed, you can have those campaigns triggered by behavior. When somebody completes a course, then subscribe them to a promotional sequence that'll go out in a week. If they complete this video or they click on this link, then send them an email follow-up. It's just insanely powerful. It is not hard to do. You just have to dream it up and then enter it into Kajabi and it'll do it for you. So the sales, like this is how you scale, is just, it's the replacing having someone smiling and dialing either for cold leads or calling your customers. And how have you been enjoying your product? We've got a new product in stock that I think you might like, or because you ordered, that thing, I think you might really like this thing. I noticed you bought an iPhone 15 Pro Max. We've got new cases available that'll fit it perfectly. Instead of having someone that you have to pay to follow up and do that and say, hey, hit up all these customers every week, hit up 20 or 100, Kajabi can do it for you. So it's email automation. It can build all your funnels. One click, the robot will build you a funnel that'll print money. It can build your webinars. One click can create webinars. And what that means is the registration page, the welcome sequence, the reminder sequence of when the webinar is happening and where it's happening, the sales page that promotes the thing, the actual webinar room itself, the follow-up sales sequence, like all of that, it's all timed to the event. It can be an automated webinar. One click, Kajabi can build that for you instead of having to hire a tech person. Like your tech stack is done because it's one click and then you just drag and drop and edit and replace the copy for whatever you want. It can even create copy for you as a starting point. And then this is one that's underutilized that I love though, is auto segmentation for your customers based off of behavior. So again, you can have certain tags set up in Kajabi. Just set it up at the beginning so that basically anytime a customer or a user clicks on a certain type of thing, it can be tagged. So you can know what your customers like and don't like. And so when you want to send a promotion to the people that really like your sales copy stuff, if you're teaching sales copy, it'll only go out to people that have engaged with sales copy related content. If you want to send out a promotion to only your best customers, it can tag people who have spent a certain amount of money with you or bought a certain number of products or completed a certain number of courses. So you always have a tag or curated segmented list automatically of people who are your top customers, however you define that. This is powerful stuff. This is saving you hours or people man hours. And I just pulled 5 and I had to stop because we got to move on with our lives. This is all under the automation. You need automation. And the great news is, if you're not a tech person, do not be overwhelmed because, look, I was building online businesses 14 years ago in 2009 when none of this existed. You had to learn some code and buy some janky WordPress template and find some plugins that broke every 6 months that messed with your other plugins when things got updated, and then strap together a PayPal button and have zip files of your products, and the triggers didn't always talk to each other, so sometimes they would buy and they wouldn't get the zip file downloaded. I mean, it was a nightmare, and you couldn't do half the stuff you had to do now. You had to build everything yourself. Webinars were a pain in the butt. Funnels, nobody would make it for you. Your website didn't look great, and it was expensive. Now you can use one tool, Kajabi, and it can do everything for your business and more. So whatever you use, whether you use Kajabi or if you think about Kajabi, go check it out, grahamcochran.com/Kajabi, and play with it for free for a month. And you'll get a course from me for free you get to keep, whether you become a paying member or not. But check it out and then use the heck out of that thing because it can do so much more than you can imagine. But if you don't use Kajabi, use something else. You're going to have to leverage automation, and it's cheap and it's easy. So that's the A, automation. That's probably the obvious one. These next two, I think most solopreneurs miss. Number 2 is community, and this is the C. Man, if you're going to be a solopreneur, And if you got the automation to run your business, you technically don't need people. Okay, all the introverts in the world celebrate it. Yay, we don't need other people. We can do this by ourselves. But you're missing out on so much. You need a community, and you need it for 4 things. But when I define community, I'll show you the 4 things. But when I define community, this could be a lot of things. This could be a mastermind. I highly recommend you join a mastermind of some kind, whatever you can afford, of a group of people that are doing the things you want to do or the things that you haven't done yet. And you might join different masterminds. And hey, when you join a mastermind, commit to at least 2 years. Like, don't dip in and dip out. Like, you literally are wasting your money and you're wasting everybody's time. Commit to 2 years and then decide if you want to stick around after that. When you find the right mastermind, you'll want to stay in it for life. But give it 2 years because it takes time to develop relationships and to get to know all the different people in the mastermind and to get the full value out of it. So just a mental note for you if you're joining a mastermind. Join a mastermind. If you can't afford a mastermind, join a paid community. Like, I've been running a 6-figure coaching community for years now. And that's, it's like a more affordable version of like what my mastermind was. At least you can get some coaching. You can be in a community with like-minded people. You all paid to be there. It's curated. You get a lot of great feedback, right? So join a paid community if you can't afford a mastermind. If you can't afford a paid community, join a free Facebook group. There's so many affinity groups, either in your niche or in business in particular. Heck, even Kajabi has their own official Kajabi Heroes Facebook group. And then if you start to make a lot of money, there's the Kajabi Heroes Gold, and then there's the Kajabi Millionaires Facebook group. So I'm in like 3 Kajabi Facebook groups, and they're free. And these are like mini communities and mini masterminds. If you take advantage of them, you could be in it and then not do anything for you, but engage with it. You can get so much value out of it. The 4 things, and I'll share what those are in a minute. And then look, the last thing, if you can't even get into a Facebook group, just get a friend. Get a business buddy. Another solopreneur, especially if they're another niche. Like, become your own 2-person mastermind. That's all a mastermind is 2 or more minds coming together. Napoleon Hill, who wrote Think and Grow Rich, popularized this in the 1930s, the concept of the mastermind. 2 minds coming together creates not just 2 minds, but like almost like a third mind is kind of the way he described it. There's something powerful, not only about the physical energy, because all our bodies are is energy, but like the multiplicative effect of our wisdom coming together. You're creating like almost like a third mind or a mastermind. So all you need is one other person to get all the benefits. So find a buddy, a business buddy. So here are the 4 things that community gives you that if you had a team, you would have, but if you don't have a team, you still need. And these are sort of the phantom benefits of a team and sort of the phantom requirements of being successful that nobody talks about. We all want to talk about the first one, automation, tools, Kajabi, yay, AI. But these are almost more powerful. Ready? Community gives you ideation or inspiration. I don't care how, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you are a very smart, wise, creative, intelligent person. How do I know that? Because you're listening to my show. No, I'm just joking. No, because everyone was born a genius. Right? Erwin McManus says that everyone's born a genius. I believe everyone's born a genius. There's a genius within you, and it just needs to come out and play. And so you're a genius. But you know what? You're only one person. And the great things in life weren't invented by one person alone. They were a collaborative effort with ideas coming together. And sometimes your greatness and your uniqueness and your genius will only reveal itself when triggered by an external source. I want to give you an idea. Excuse me, I'm fighting a cold. Back in February 2023, I got my idea for my latest book, Rebel, Find Yourself by Not Following the Crowd, coming out 2024. It's phenomenal, and it's going to change a lot of people's lives, and I'm really proud of it. I'm going to go out on a limb and say this book is going to be a bestseller. It's going to impact 1 million lives, and it's going to change my life. I have a feeling. I'll report back and give you the details, but I believe it's happening. But let me tell you this, that book would not exist if it weren't for me getting in a room with my friend John Gordon. Now, John Gordon is multiple Wall Street Journal, New York Times bestselling author, top keynote speaker, and just all around great husband, father, and dude. And I knew I needed help. I didn't even know what I needed help for. I really tapped him to like help me think about how to become a world-class speaker and author. And I said, John, 20 years from now, I want to be like where you are. I want to be doing what you're doing. I want to be traveling and speaking at the highest level. I want to be writing books at the highest level. And so what do I not know? Tell me what I I don't know that I don't know. What I didn't know was going to happen that day is that I was going to get the idea for my next book, Rebel. And it came in a flash. And it came in a flash because he was in a conversation with me, asking me questions, pressing me on the things that I'm passionate about and the things that are deep within me, and drawing me out just by being a good friend and asking good questions. And there was a couple of hours of nothing coming out because he's like, well, what's the next book going to be about? I was like, I don't know, John. I've been praying about this for 6 months. I don't know, man. I have a lot of things I could talk about and teach about. I could do more business books. I could do stuff about generosity like my TED Talk. I don't know. But nothing really just jumped out until he noticed something about my story when he's like, well, tell me your story. And I was telling him my story. I want to be a rock star. And this crazy story I write about in the book about my guidance counselor when I told her that I wasn't going to go to college because I was going to be a rock star, and she said I had to apply for college because I went to this college prep school. She's like, I don't care what you do, but we have a 100% college acceptance rate, and you must apply to one school and get accepted by one school. And I was like, or what? You're going to kill me? Like what? Like what's happening here? Here I am, like a 17-year-old, kind of being subtly threatened by my guidance counselor that I have to go to college. And I was just telling the stories like I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to do the military like my parents. I didn't want to be an engineer or a teacher like my parents. I didn't want to be like my friends who wanted to be investment bankers and all this stuff. And I was saying all these things I didn't want to do and all the pushback. And John goes, Graham, bro, you're a rebel. I was like, rebel? I was like, that word means so much to me. There's so many layers of what being a rebel means to me. I was like, that's my whole life, bro. I'm like, that's my next book. And we unpacked it. God gave me a framework for it. It all came out in a flash of inspiration. And that inspiration did not come by me sitting alone in this room like I am today, talking to a black dot, speaking into a microphone. It came sitting knee to knee with another man who's not in my niche, who has a very different life experience than me, but who's brilliant in his own right, doesn't even know my story that well. We're newer friends, getting to know each other still, and inspiration. 6 days later, I signed my next book deal. and now the book's, finishing up the edits, right? It's insane. So being in community with at least one other person, you're going to get the biggest ideas and the biggest inspiration. And that alone can print money for you. And just one little side note for you. When you get ideas and inspiration, give credit where credit's due. Like I just did with John, I'll tell everybody to the day I die, when Rebel becomes a 1 million copy seller, and I've made literally millions of dollars off that book, and the keynote of Rebel has made me millions of dollars, and the impact is millions of lives. Like when that happens, and the subsequent books and opportunities that come from it, you know who I'm going to thank, and who I'm already thanking preemptively? John Gordon. So give credit where credit's due for the person that helped inspire it, for the moment where that idea came. Because it's that generous act of giving, and then you'll have a friend for life, but also it's just the right thing to do. So it's a beautiful thing. So ideation inspiration is going to print money for you. You don't even know, and you don't know what's going to come out of you until you get in a room with somebody, even a virtual room. Number 2 is accountability. I don't struggle with accountability. So I don't need this as much, but a lot of my clients I'm realizing need it. And so just being in a mastermind, being in a group, it's amazing what that accountability would do for you. Like, hey, you said on our last call that you're working on that launch. How's it going? You're like, oh crap, I got to do it. This is powerful. Like just being accountable to other people, even if it's just peer pressure and you don't want to look stupid, that's powerful and accountable, and that's going to hold you accountable so you get the stuff done. Number 3, moral support. Man, sometimes things just suck in business. If you have no one to talk to about it and vent to, you're just going to bury it, and you're going to become bitter, and you're going to grow bitter weeds and roots in your life. And you need the moral support so you don't feel like a crazy person, so you can unload, but also moral support to celebrate when things go well. It's hard when you have your first 6-figure launch and you make $100,000 in a week or something, launching something, and you have no one to celebrate with other than your friends or your spouse, you don't have someone in the business space that you can really celebrate with who gets it, you're going to feel a little like subdued, and it's going to pour like water on the flame of joy, and it's going to rob you of one of the biggest payoffs of doing this is like that high you get when you do something great, because the high will fade quickly on its own. But you got to celebrate with people. Celebration is huge. And I just love having that moral support of a community to celebrate with, for sure. And then 4th, collaboration. So whereas the first one, like with me and John Gordon, we're not collaborating on this book. I just got inspired and got an idea by having a conversation with him. Collaboration is when like me and my buddy Joe Gilder, who had a very similar business to my first business, The Recording Revolution, back in 2012, I wanted to launch a membership. He already had a membership, but I also wanted to kind of do something with him. And we had started a podcast together just for fun. And then we said, what if we started a new membership together that was built around the idea of both of us each individually mixing a song, getting the same recordings from the same band, mixing the song on our own, and then posting it to the community and like letting the community vote on whose mix was sounded better, and then letting them mix it as well. And just this cool concept that we called dueling mixes. And it became a $250,000 to $300,000 a year product. And we got to run together, and that's called collaboration. He's a solopreneur, I'm a solopreneur, but we created a new product and ultimately a new business together that we ran for 7 years and made a couple $1 million doing it. You know, it's so fun. And so collaboration comes by just being in community with somebody. So powerful. You need community more than anything, I think, if you're a solopreneur. So don't poo-poo it, even if it's just one person, and a buddy, a business buddy, a solopreneur buddy. Okay, so that's the A and the C: automation, community, and the E for ACE. Remember, ACE. The E is you need expectations. What do I mean by this? Can I just give you some tough love for a minute? If you're a solopreneur, you're probably really good at one thing, and that is winging it. You're just winging it. Maybe I'll work today. Maybe I'll finish that course today. Maybe I'll check my analytics today. I don't know what I'm going to do this year. Like, I think things are kind of doing better. Oh, I don't feel like working. Oh, yeah, maybe I should do something for Black Friday. You're just winging your business. When you have a team that depends on you, either financially because you pay them, or their job, literally they need communication from you to do their job, you can't wing it. You find that out real quick when you get a team that you're winging it is actually like a detriment to the success of the business. And so that I didn't know that until I hired my first team member, who was just a customer support guy, just a buddy of mine that I paid 10 hours a week to manage my inbox and take care of my customers. I started to realize, I'm winging it. I need more communication. He was like, well, how do you deal with this? How do you deal when someone complains about this? I'm like, I don't know. So I had to create processes and systems. It really helped me refine my process. And every time I added a team member on the content side, on the copywriting side, on the sales and marketing side, on the Instagram side, whatever it was, it required me to stop winging it. When you're solo, you can just wing it. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. When you're winging it, you are literally diluting your efforts, and you're not going to make as much money or as much impact. So here are 4 types of expectations you need to set. I'm serious. This is like, most people don't do this. And this is why most people don't have a thriving solopreneur business, right? Number 1 expectation are your revenue expectations. You're going to rise and fall to the level of your expectations. If you expect to make about the same amount of money you made last year, you know what you're going to make? The same amount of money you made last year. If you expect to 2x your income this year, you know what you're going to do? You're probably going to 2x your income. Oh, Graham, you can't say that. This is kind of how the human mind works. Whatever you set your mind to, your subconscious and your brain and your genius that's within, it has to close the freaking loop. Like, we're loop closers. This is why we can't turn off bad movies. Like, you're watching a bad movie on the Hallmark Channel, why are you even watching the Hallmark Channel? It's a bad, cheesy movie, and you hate it, but you can't stop it because you need to know how it ends, right? Does he propose to her on Christmas like she wants or not? Like, I need to know. So, like, we have to close loops. That's why open loop email subject lines, like, I slapped him and this is what happened. Like, I have to open that email because I have to know what happens. I don't even have time to read this stupidity, but I have to know what happens. Our mind wants to close the loops. And so this is also why, instead of saying, and Robert Kiyosaki is the first person that I heard say this in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, instead of saying things like, I can't afford this, turn it into a how question. How could I afford this? Instead of saying, I can't afford a $100,000 car, ask, how could I afford a $100,000 car? You don't know, but by asking how, your brain goes to work. Well, I could sell a lot of plasma, donate a lot of plasma. I could do, you just get curious and your brain goes to work. And when your brain goes to work, the body follows. right? There's something I teach in my new book, Rebel, called the life change formula. And this is something I learned from a coach of mine named Julia. It's belief, thoughts, feelings, actions. So new beliefs change to give you new thoughts, which give you new feelings, which lead to new action. So if nothing happens without action. I can't 2x my business by not doing anything. But if I change my beliefs, AKA my expectations, it's going to change what I think about. If I believe I'm going to 2x my business this year, then I'm starting to think about 2xing my business. And how could I 2x my business? And what it'll feel like when I 2x my business. So my feelings change. I'm getting excited. I'm getting anticipation. I don't want to let myself down, especially if I have accountability from my community. Now there's peer pressure to do it. My feelings, my thoughts are all around 2xing. And then I'm going to have to start doing different things to 2x my business. So change your beliefs, change your thoughts, change your feelings, which changes your actions, which lead to results. That's the only way life change happens or business change happens. So you need revenue expectations. What do you expect to make this year? What do you expect to make next year? This isn't just wishing. I could say I expect to make $1 billion next year. I mean, that's maybe not a bad idea, right? There's a great book called 10X is easier than 2X. Thinking about how can I make $1 billion next year, I probably realistically won't hit $1 billion, but it might help me make an extra $1 million. There's no harm in having huge expectations. Yet there's a culture of, just temper our expectations. I don't want to have too high expectations, which I think is just you and me preemptively not letting ourselves down and getting hurt. We don't want to be hurt. We don't want to be disappointed. So we just have low expectations. We have small dreams. This is something, again, I talk about in my book, Rebel. And so we're doing ourselves a disservice. Set revenue expectations. Every business needs to know. If you're a publicly traded company, you literally by law have to share what your quarterly expectations are, and then you have to give quarterly reports if you exceeded, met, or did not meet your quarterly revenue expectations, right? This is all kind of tracked very publicly. And I think that helps companies because there's accountability there to the shareholders and to the general public. So revenue expectations. Stop winging your revenue. Number 2, quarterly goals. These are your expectations for your quarterly goals. Don't just wing what you're doing. I'm so fascinated with the fact that my clients and my students sometimes have no idea what they're working on. Yeah, I might work on this. I might work on this. What? You should have one massive overarching goal per quarter. So that could mean building and launching a new product. That could mean overhauling all your stuff and moving it to Kajabi. That could mean developing a new keynote and practicing it and getting booked on your next stage. That could mean writing a book. I don't know what it is, but have one overarching goal per quarter, and then you can have up to 2 other sub goals. But really, it's 1 to 3 main goals per quarter. And every business needs to have quarterly goals of what you're working on, what you want to accomplish, what projects, what things you want to create. Even if that's learning, my quarterly goal, it's almost like a 4-month goal, but it's September through December. I'm deep in learning mode. I have coursework I'm going through for a new program I'm a part of for very specific things I'm learning. And then within that, I'm also developing a brand new keynote. My quarterly goal for the summer quarter, which is kind of May, June, July, that's not really a quarter, I know, but for that 3-month process, I was writing my book. I was get the book done. That was my main goal, right? So what are your goals? You need to have those expectations. Number 3 expectation, your work rhythm, your office hours. When do you expect to be in the office? If you had a team, when could they expect you to be in the office? If you don't have set office hours, you don't respect yourself. Full stop. I'm not advocating rigidity for the sake of rigidity. I'm advocating intentionality and self-respect. If you just wake up and do I feel like working today? You're not a real business owner. You're winging it. This is what gives solopreneurs a bad name. They say the laptop lifestyle, and they're I might be by the pool. Now, don't mishear me. I like working in beautiful places, beautiful hotel lobbies, by the pool. I've even worked at the beach before. That's great, but I have work hours. And I can change those work hours if I'm traveling or if I'm taking a couple weeks off. But I have a schedule because I have self-respect. I treat myself like a CEO of a company. It's not magic. It's just, this is why I'm wearing shoes and cologne right now. Okay? There's nobody here. There's no one to see me. There's no one to smell me. This is why I brushed my teeth this morning, right? No one's going to smell my breath. No one's going to smell my cologne. No one's going to see that I'm wearing shoes or pants. You can't even see if I'm wearing pants. I'm wearing pants. Okay? Why do I do this? Because I feel more professional when I've got shoes on, pants on, and cologne on. Very, very simple, right? And so my wife makes fun of me, like, why do you spray cologne and you go sit by yourself in your office for a few hours? Because I'm making money, babe. I'm a CEO of a company. So that's just like side stuff. But like, I know when I'm going to work and I know when I'm not going to work. Just plan your rhythm. And that's the thing, you get to decide. You get to decide what that looks like. And hey, you're not stuck with it. My work rhythms change seasonally throughout the year. We just came off of the summer, and in the summer, I dropped down to 1 day a week because my kids are home and I want to spend more time with them. And I only have 4 more summers with my oldest and 7 more summers with my youngest. So summers are precious to me. So I changed my work rhythm, but at least have work rhythm expectations and office hour expectations. You need to figure those out for yourself as well. And final expectations you need to know is you need to know what your tasks expectations are, and you need to review those tasks. At least twice a year, do an 80-20 analysis, right? Where you look at every task you've been doing every day, week, or month, and then you filter it through. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago on my 5-hour work week episode of how to have a 5-hour work week. You go through the process of eliminate, automate, delegate, and then concentrate, right? Which I stole from Rory Vaden, the concentrate part. But eliminate, automate, delegate, I got from Tim Ferriss, and I've been using that for a decade, and it works beautifully. And you apply the 80-20 principle to all your tasks. A good CEO of a company is going to review all the tasks that he or she are doing and all the tasks that her managers are doing and their employees are doing. Now, he might not be able to review everybody's tasks, but he would have somebody review everyone's tasks, because no company wants to have employees that are getting paid money to do work that doesn't move the needle, right? We'd rather pay them less and just do the parts that matter, or double down on the parts that matter and keep their salary the same, and we're going to get double the results. Does this make sense? So that's it. Your expectations, revenue expectations, quarterly goal expectations, your work rhythm and work hour expectations, and your task expectations. That's it. ACE, A-C-E. Every good solopreneur needs automation, community, and expectations. My question for you is, which of those 3, the A, the C, the E, the automation, community, and expectation, are you weakest on? It's okay. If you're watching on YouTube, put a comment below. Which of those 3 are you weakest on? I can tell you my weakness has always been community. I talked about this a month or so ago. I did an episode on if I were starting over today, what would I do differently in my business? And there's 2 things I said that relate to community. I would have hired a mentor sooner, and I would have jumped inside of a community sooner. Being inside of paid communities, free communities, and hiring mentors and coaches, I've seen the fastest growth. And I've hired a variety of coaches in a variety of areas, from wealth management to how to coach well, to mindset, to digital entrepreneurship, to authoring, to speaking, all the things. I've had a bunch of different coaches. I've been in multiple masterminds, in multiple paid communities, and multiple free communities. And every time I've been in community, I've grown the fastest. But it took me probably 3 to 4 years before I got my first coach or mentor or jumped in my first community. I'm weak there. I'm fine being by myself. And I guess I'm prideful. I think I don't need anybody else, or like I'll figure it out eventually. I'm like the guy that won't ask for directions or help because I'll figure it out eventually. And that's a detriment to my success. And I think it would have grown faster sooner if I had community earlier. So that's my weakest. It has been. But now it's becoming one of my strongest because I've seen the power of it. So what about you? What's your weakest? Is it automation tools? Is it the community? Or is it the expectations? Leave a comment below. And let me just, final bit of encouragement. Being a solopreneur is a great privilege. I consider it a great honor to have been a solopreneur most of my journey. I have a small team now, but I feel like I still embody the solopreneur life. It has given me and my family the most amount of freedom. It's set so many of my friends and students and clients free. and you are living in the greatest time in the history of planet Earth to be an entrepreneur in general, and then to be a solopreneur in particular, because you have more access to automation and community than ever before. The expectations, that's on you. But the way the internet has gone is there's more opportunity and ease of access to automation and community than ever before. So, my friend, you have so few excuses to be successful, to not be successful. Like, you've got this. And I just want to encourage you, don't feel like you got to hire people. Don't let anybody pressure you. Don't fall for the, clone yourself, delegate to scale. Like, these are all things I teach and all things I believe in, but don't fall prey to the pressure to do it if you're not ready. Don't be afraid of it either. It's not that hard. But get these 3 things in place: automation, community, and expectations in place. Crush your business, get to 6, multi-6 figures potentially, and then maybe hire somebody, and then watch yourself soar even more. All right? Thanks for hanging out today. It's been fun. Keep it real, stay safe, have an amazing week, and I'll see you on another episode real soon.